Imagine this. It's barely dawn, steam rising from my mug of black coffee as I stand there on my weathered wooden pier, the world still wrapped in that hazy blue light, when suddenly the screech of sirens shatters the peace. For squad cars barreling down my gravel path in Silverwood Heights, their lights flashing like some twisted parade, and right behind them, the HOA chairwoman is jabbing her finger at me, hollering that I'm poaching fish from what she calls association grounds. The sheer absurdity hitting me like a cold wave off the water. Because folks, this 4-acre crystal-clear pond has been mine since 2010, a sacred piece of earth passed down from my grandpa. And all this time, it's been these upscale intruders who've been sneaking onto my turf without a second thought. But what this Patricia Beaumont and her cronies don't realize yet is that I'm no pushover handyman they can bully into submission. I've got decades of land titles stacked in my safe, a network of hidden wildlife cams worth every penny of the $350 I dropped, and a sharp-minded lawyer who's been waiting for a case like this. So tell me, what would you do if your neighborhood overlords tried to snatch away the one tranquil spot your family cherished for generations? Hit me in the comments, because the payback that unfolds here is the kind of righteous takedown that leaves you cheering. These self-important tyrants messed with the wrong quiet soul. I'm Alex Thompson, a 43-year-old plumber who's always found solace in the simple things. And when my grandfather left me this haven back in 2010, it felt like inheriting a hidden gem, for acres of lush timberland hugging a 2-acre artesian-fed pond that's been ours since 1988. Those early hours I'd stroll to the water's edge, inhaling the sharp tang of oak leaves blended with the fresh, muddied aroma of the shore, the eerie hoot of owls fading into the dawn, fog swirling like spirits over the surface, and I'd flick my lure out there, heart swelling with gratitude, thinking how blessed I was to have this untouched slice of heaven. Way back when Grandpa snagged this plot, it was wild country, endless woods and open fields, a bargain nobody else saw value in. Developers far from sniffing around our rural pocket, the pond teeming with crappie and perch, nourished by underground aquifers that kept it pure and chilly through every season. I've held on to the ancient title, the boundary pins, and stacks of tax stubs spanning nearly 4 decades. Never a whisper of challenge until now. Yet serenity draws in the vipers, doesn't it? Between 2013 and 2016, the posh enclave of Silverwood Heights popped up overnight, like weeds in a garden, encircling my retreat with $500,000 mansions buzzing with affluent professionals and pensioners craving that country club vibe. All at once, my serene woodland escape was hemmed in by these glossy abodes, and plenty of the newcomers eyed my pond as if it were part of their welcome basket. The trouble brewed slowly starting in 2019. Gentle asks at first, "Mind if our little ones cast a line from your jetty? Could we paddle our canoes out on Sundays? I'm a reasonable guy, sure, now and then, but let's coordinate. Basic respect, you know." Then the gripes rolled in, nameless tips to the township about stagnant pools breeding bugs, snide remarks at the hardware store about folks neglecting their lots. I began spotting soda bottles and tangled monofilament littering my banks, and that's when Patricia Beaumont swept in like a storm cloud, arriving from the West Coast in 2020, late 50s, impeccably coiffed auburn waves that screamed high-end salon. Cruising a silver Lexus crossover, she maneuvered like the road was her kingdom. She was a former ad exec with a grin that stayed surface level, never warming her gaze, and a knack for phrasing demands as friendly advice. Barely settled in before she clinched the HOA chairwoman spot. Her platform all about elevating home worth through strict guidelines, code for micromanaging lives until everyone bowed to her vision. The big clash ignited on a crisp weekend dawn in mid-2024. I was ambling to the pond, brew in hand, eager for some quiet angling, when the buzz of a battery-powered tool pierced the air, somebody planting markers on my soil without a heads up. I strode over to confront Patricia herself, clad in what looked like upscale outdoor gear, bossing around a pair of laborers with a digging tool, her cloying rose-scented cologne assaulting me from yards away. "Pardon me." I kept my tone steady. "What's going on here?" She pivoted with that rehearsed beam, shoes tapping on the pavement. "Oh, Alex, just clarifying lines for the greater good. You get it, right? I get that you're staking signs on my dirt uninvited." Her expression cracked a bit. "Well, there's uncertainty around open access to shared perks. No uncertainty here." This is my domain. Those come down immediately. And that's when the mask slipped, revealing raw privilege laced with fury. I don't believe you grasp your standing, she hissed in that polished threat tone the elite wield. This area has expectations, some just don't belong. And just like that, the gauntlet was thrown, my pulse quickening with a mix of rage and resolve, knowing this was no minor spat, but a battle for what was rightfully mine, the injustice burning deep, a violation not just of land, but of the legacy my grandpa built with his bare hands. A fortnight on, I saw how Patricia hated her rule being defied, savoring my routine pre-dawn fishing, the steam curling from my cup in the chill, that initial throw slicing the calm. When slams of doors echoed, several at once, Patricia emerging from the foliage like commanding a raid, backed by 4 bored allies I scarcely knew. Mr. Thompson, she declared, courtroom formal. We must address your persistent breaches of neighborhood norms. I scanned my own turf, my pond, gripping my own pole. Excuse me, breaches of what? Patricia's sidekick, a fidgety fellow named Evan in his perpetual button-down, thrust forward a formal packet. This is a halt order from our council concerning your interference with communal harmony and improper utilization of collective leisure spots. The warmth of my drink soured on my tongue. I could hear the spool unwinding in the hush as I absorbed their gall. Collective leisure spots. I echoed. You referring to my personal pond that I hold title to? The HOA has deemed certain features affect overall valuations and thus come under our purview, Patricia recited from notes. Ongoing infractions will incur $150 daily penalties with possible encumbrances on your holdings. Bullies thrive on stunning you into silence, ambushing with legalese. Gibberish, betting you'll fold under the weight. Patricia had pulled this before, no doubt. But Grandpa instilled in me that threats to your roots demand cunning over fury. I'll consult my counsel, I replied evenly. Patricia's smirk broadened like she'd triumphed already, the unfairness gnawing at me. This wasn't just about a pond. It was an assault on the quiet life my family earned. The love for this place that ran through my veins like the springs feeding the water. That Saturday, I hunkered down for hours in the municipal archives, poring over files, best $15 on meters ever, uncovering gold. The Silverwood Heights HOA chartered in April 2015, years post my 2010 inheritance. Key insight for battling overzealous groups. A post-ownership HOA holds no sway over prior holders. No backdated control like forcing old homeowners into new dues. Absurd as forming a knitting circle and mandating all yarn owners comply. Bolstered by this, I did the unexpected. Enlisted a proper litigator for $1,500 upfront. Worth it. In days, my rep fired off a stop harass notice demanding they cease the torment. Then I struck back, uploading scans of my plat and title to the local online forum with a civil boundary clarification. Backlash was swift and revealing, neighbors chiming in favorably, some spilling their own tales of Patricia's excesses. Her retaliation petty as expected, scrubbing my entries, banning me, counterposting that I was badgering officials, and fostering toxicity for households. But here's her initial blunder. She roped in officials. 3 days hence, a municipal inspector knocked with a notepad and puzzled look, evidently tipped off that my spread violated a dozen ordinances. Frankly, he muttered, surveying my tidy grounds. Not sure the point. All seemed shipshape. Report mentioned illicit camping ops. Who lodged it? He scanned forms. Anonymous citizen. But off record. These tips traced to one line. He nodded toward the development, sighing, idle hands. Devil's work. Check lasted quarter hour. Clean bill. He even praised my peer build. Yet Patricia persisted. That dusk, a ring from Dave Sullivan, my nearest neighbor, a former educator, solid as they come, who'd observed the saga with mounting worry. Alex, he confided, you ought to hear Patricia's meeting rants. What's she spinning now? She's alleging physical menace from you. Claims fear strolling her pup by your fence. My temper flared. Dave, I've never barked at her, I know. But she's stirring paranoia. Though others tire of her dominance, you're not alone. Hanging up, it dawned this transcended my pond. Patricia wove a web of fear. I her fresh prey. Time to chronicle it all. The injustice swelling. A betrayal of neighborly trust, eroding the bonds Grandpa valued. His lessons of fairness now my shield. Patricia figured if one bureau failed, bombard with more, The ensuing weeks a gauntlet of red tape. Another inspector with 19 gripes Patricia supplied. From faulty pier to road plant clearing, he trudged through, weary as a bean counter. Sir, he concluded, complainant needs specs or fancies wildly. Your place rivals public greens. Then state game wardens, tipped on commercial harvest from my private waters. The ranger, a jovial sort named Greg, eyed my lone rig and chuckled. HOA feud, I bet. How'd you guess? We field these phantom poaching calls often, usually nosy types playing expert. But Patricia's opus was her online crusade, birthing a page dubbed Silverwood Safety Watch, daily dispatches framing my angling as pre-dawn nuisances tanking equity. Isolation crept in subtly, snubbed from yearly gatherings I'd joined forever. Waves turned to averted eyes. Even the postman noted queries on my habits, prompting deeper digs. Another archive dive into charter docs. Jackpot, 2015. Founding omitted my parcel, but a 2020 tweak illicitly engulfed it. Vital tip: no annexing sans owner sign-off. Can't ballot you in like a sorority. Bogus is claiming your shed for their club. Unlawful, yet attempted since ignorance abounds. I rushed this to my counsel, who lit up. Alex, fraud plain. For years false authority. We can halt and sue for veiled persecution. The retort letter fierce, vowing action for sham claims, demanding end to pursuits. The panel buckled swift as dominoes. Next session pausing enforcement's pending boundary probe. Patricia fumed, reportedly, but I thought victory. Naive, never discount a wounded ego. She pivoted to smears, probing my lineage at soirees, snarking on misfits grasping civility. Pondering if some suited elsewhere, the rumble of engines heralded escalation. Fixing a lamp when Patricia's Lexus invaded, trailed by a patrol, guts sinking. What now? The cop neared wary, Patricia lingering smug. Sir, tip on menaces to a local. Questions, menaces, officer, baseless. Ma'am alleges aggressive approach yesterday, vowing reprisal for meddling. I gaped at Patricia nodding piously. Officer. Shopbound all eve. Week since chat. Proof. Bless the cams I'd rigged prior for pond watch. Clips showed me tinkering 5 to 8 p.m. Exact window. Cop viewed on my device. Conferred with her. Her hue crimsoning. Back he came contrite. Sir, noting false report. County misdemeanor. Consider your own charge. As she peeled out. Gravel flying. Cop shook head. We recognize that spot. Where's thin? Tips. Log all. They self-sabotage given rope. The bogus call boomeranged, sparking insight. If cams cleared me, what else captured? Scouting borders. I unearthed rage fuel. A beaten trail from the enclave to my shore. Not casual. Groomed with logs over muck, leading to a rogue oasis. Makeshift plank add-on to my pier. Lawn seats circling a rock hearth. Pole racks screwed to trunks. A padlocked icebox. Reek of ash and flat ale from secret fates. That Sunday, I mounted 5 infrared motion sensors. $350 investment, primed to pay off. Reels. Astounding. Fortnite tallied 52 intrusions. Clans picnicking. Youths reveling. Grown-ups tourneying. Epic a midnight bash with 24. But crown jewel. Patricia in 8 clips. She of professed dread. Brazenly lounging like her spa. Sleuthing ensued. Dave my mole. Unveiled sense. Check this budget. He urged. Item 52. Pond upkeep. $12,000 across years. They've billed for your waters. Patricia pitched it as communal asset care. Pro tip. Scrutinize association ledgers for phantom spends on alien turf, akin to neighbors taxing you for their lawnmower fuel dubbed shared gear. Worse, Dave snagged their coverage policy via Insider. My pond listed as insured rec hub. Ponder that. They pocketed dues for phantom protection while I shouldered real risks. Fraud stacking. I phoned counsel pronto. Alex, he breathed reviewing. Beyond torment. Deceit manifold. Revenue scams. Pilferage. Felony territory. Tides turned. Patricia meanwhile burrowed deeper. Meeting declaring crisis protocols for perils from select owners. Eyeing cams at my lot. Dave relayed. Safety guys. Ironic. I'd welcome more trespass proof. Her snide peak when queried on upkeep funds. Certain folks, she dripped scorn. Miss that premium living demands duties. If unwilling, relocate fittingly. The veiled elitism alienating even loyalists. Her hubris clear. She coveted my pond for her bliss. My deed mere hurdle. The unfairness and knife twist, profaning Grandpa's haven, his family devotion, now my vengeance fire. Next days I'm marshaled proof like a DA, vids, finances, policies, affidavits from David All. Chronology crystallizing years of systemic ripoff to me and theirs, craved more than win, reckoning, and fate delivered via post. Bland assessor envelope hiding thunder, hadn't appealed taxes, yet Silverwood HOA co-filed for my valuation dip, citing joint perks easing loads, claiming stake for relief. I bolted to the office. Doc gripped, "Ma'am, how file on non-owned land?" She browsed records frowning. "Odd. App asserts maintenance qualifying for amenity breaks. They own zilch. Proof here. Family since '88. Her scowl deepened. "Sir, falsity means tax deceit. Probe launches now." Those words electric. If tax lies. What more? Day cross-checking. Insurance call clarified. Ensuring unowned is scam. Like policy on strangers. Premiums harvested fraudulently. Theft outright. Patricia's web vast. Bilking her own while felonies mounted. Kicker from Dave Eve call. Her spouse tanked firm last month. Dire. Straits. Puzzle snapped. Not mere control freak. Desperate facade maintainer amid collapse. Role vital for prestige. Self. Making her lethal defender. Dave. Fallout if ousted. Ruin. Exodus. Scandals exposed. Grasping her stake. She'd war to end. Yet my arsenal could crush. Deceit layers. False tips. Intrusions. Enough for irons. A mosaic of delusion. Morn I dialed thrice. Counsel gobsmacked at tax angle. DA for charges. Press hound for expose. Bigger than turf war. Communal swindle. Patricia. Craved dominance. Time for true might. Crafting an ironclad assault. First bolstered counsel with Elena Vasquez. HOA scam slayer versed in elite offenses. Alex. Post-dossier scan. Jackpot for prosecution. Chronic deceit hitting agencies. Victims galore. Contingency basis. When assured. Next forensic beam counter dissecting public ledgers Dave amassed. Prelim scorched. $38,000 dubious outlays over years. Pawned fraud. Rogue counsel bills. Veiled personal tabs. Then certified mapper for evidentiary plat. $7,000 sting, but gold. Tip supreme. Pro maps trump amateur in courts. Weighty as granite. Meanwhile Dave rallied dissenters. Patricia's terror-breeding foes. 5 logging plights. Ex-counter Mrs. Harlow aiding audits. She fined me $4,000 for mismatched fence hue. Queried rule. She snapped standards unwritten. Exposed her whimsy. Cam's yielding laughs. Patricia scouting with tape. One gem her shifting pin. Boundary tamper felony unaware. Beefed system to 10 units. Aim deluge proof denying feasible. Elena linked me to corruption beat scribe Maria Gomez. Thrilled by dossier depth. Ticks boxes. Abuse. Class prey. Elders. Solid proof over gripes. Neighbor chats when criminal wheels spun quick. DA sleuth enthused. Suburban graft rising. Precedent hunger. Tax. Coverage. False alerts. Service theft. Officer con listed. Plus badgering. Maybe racketeering on fines. Your logs stellar. Rare preservation. Insurer probe 2. Irked at sham dues. Felony referrals brewing. Strategy. Synced pressure. Trifecta. Legal. Penal. Public. Evasion feudal. Eve's filing timelines. Allies coordinating. Ink whiff and shuffle symphony. Beneath drudge. Shirty bloomed. Patricia-eyed easy mark. Met instead meticulous guardian. Prep trumping hysterics. Tides shifted communal. Queries piercing meetings. Base fracturing. Finale letting herself implode on lens. Her frenzy bizarre. Dawn finding peer wrecked. Prime marks. Lines slashed. Heirloom kit vanished. $1,800 legacy. Splinter sent fresh. Cams nailed it. Youths at 1 a.m. Wide frame Patricia's ride lurking dark. Officer con quipped. Vandalism plot plus juvie exploit. Felony buffet. Yet she raged on. Anonymous barges to agencies. Codes on hazards. Health on vectors. Fire on flammables. Creative eco-tip on avian disrupt. Biologist lauded my biome. Complainant clueless. Sustain it. Online. Sham critiques tanked my site. Bogus profile flaming locals. Capper phoning clients alleging probes. Urging withhold. Homeowner queried. Anon from safety panel. Traced to Patricia's fixed line. Elena gleeful. Biz metal. Hefty claims for loss. Repute harm. Distress. Spat balloon to major suit. Law fun when she dialed emergencies, fleet arriving, medics, engines, 911 on collapse, soul here fine. False calls grave, third monthly from hood, resource abuse, tapes gold, Patricia's timbre. Evident despite mask, cardiac, drown, gunfire, each felony. Her zenith bribery stroll, recording pocketed, Alex, adult resolution, ear open. HOA bids $20,000 plus kin access for boundary accord. Meaning drop beefs, share formalize, win-win, decline, battles costly public, tradesmen shun spotlight, taped graft, shakedown, menaces, irony poetic, escape offer her doom seal. Outrage peaked with eco-forgery. Department missive on toxic leech risking public. Detailed bunk on chems from gear, inspector geared. Nuclear, test all, condemn if true, value crash. Ruinous cleanse, yet pros sniff fraud. Pristine waters, lab-sided phony. Never sampled. DocForge federal, same span boycott push. Leaflets blasting me enviro threat. Biz tossed. Owners rallied. Tom Hardware, 3 decades. Nuttiest, self-parody. Her vid rant apex. Dave linked. Unhinged 15-minute living room horror lit. Alleging pond crime nest. Spiraling to signals for thugs. Comments baffled. Help please. Delusional tags. Finale veiled mob call. If officials fail, folk act. Preserve ethos. Harassment with violence hint. Forwarded officer con. She's admitting crusade threatening ahead. Charge fodder alone. Backlash swift. 6 officials demanded quit. Managers threatened pull if unchecked. Allies fled. Taint fear. Air victory scented with shore breeze. Cams rolling. Suits prepped. Probes ironclad. Yet craved utter shame before all. Quarterly civic forum stage. Plan to let rope snare publicly. Silverwood Hall jammed unprecedented. Routine morphed spectacle. Word blazed. Alex versus Patricia showdown. Lot jammed. Streets lined. Chatter electric pre-storm. Indoors sardined. 120 capacity bursting 200. Dave nodded. Mrs. Harlow beamed. Clients showed. Foddig set. News crew too. Patricia isolated front. Suit armor. Pearl's fortune. But strain palpable. Councilman Reed gavelled. Unusual eve. Ms. Beaumont on perils. Mr. Thompson rebuts. She podiumed poised. Perfume wave. Mayor thanks. Community besieged by valuation threats. Life weighs. Diatribe on defiant scofflaws menacing kin. Me hazard to kingpin. Crowd scoffed. Chuckles at commerce claims. 10 minutes lunacy. Finale mob hint redux. Silence stunned. Even she sensed gaff. Councilman uneasy. Your turn, Mr. Thompson. Folder in hand. Calm surged. Culmination of endurance. Mayor thanks. Query simple. Exhibit deed. Ms. Beaumont. Title since 2010. Explain $12,000 upkeep on unowned. Stir. Silence hers. Or insurance listing my pond communal. Projector gasps. Or tax bids claiming share for relief. She bolted up. Slander. Twisting. Ma'am sit. I phoned audio. $20,000 offer for silence. What meant biz pressure? Playback erupted chaos. What outrage? Phones buzzing. Patricia volcanic. Illegal tape. One consent state actually. Fave slide. Vid her with youths wrecking. Explain felony oversight 1 a.m. Meltdown. Plot screamed. Thugs ally. Room hushed as Deputy Lang entered with backups. Timing flawless. Patricia Beaumont. Arrest for false reports. Deceit. Vandalism plot. Flashes immortalized crumble. Rights read public. Cuffed disgrace march. Applause justice thunder. Weeks later, dominoes toppled. Patricia pled to frauds for supervised release. Service. $40,000 repay to bilked. HOA excised my land eternal. Newspaper sorry. Case lore for rights pros. Officer Con hailed docs exemplar. Personal triumph shown. Half-year post. Inaugural Silverwood Pond Fest. Barbecue to Unity Bash. Blankets. Donated gear. Grills sizzle with water whiff. Dave's grandkid hooked first perch. Glee splash. Mrs. Harlow salad tales of sleuthing. Councilman Reed thanked governance restore. Pond. Strife to bond emblem. Wildlife collab for eco youth. Saturday's doc lessons thriving. Counties emulating. Biz boomed. Media influx. Apprentices hired. Waitlist long. HOA reform transparent. Audits strict. No vendettas. Values climbed sans terror. Genuine camaraderie bloomed. Year on. Peer dawn. Brew warm. Owls calling. Fog dance. Kid laughs echo for sessions. Pine breeze promise. Patricia vanished post-convict. Unmourned. Hood ideal supportive. 3 enclaves sought aid versus grafts. Her echo national ill. I advise victims on tactics. Testify reforms next. Bully stand sparked movement. Closure sweet. Pond peace reclaimed. Family love avenged. Injustice felled by patience. But now, ponder this. Was my methodical revenge too harsh, or exactly the justice bullies deserve? Does standing firm against entitlement make you a hero, or just another fighter in the fray? Where do we draw the line between rightful defense and overkill? Drop your thoughts below on right, wrong, ethics in these neighborhood wars.